Hey, this is 5 on 20 News with Reggie Stout coming to you live from our studio in downtown Tucson. It's Monday, January 8th, so let's talk local headlines. Let's do it. Okay, Governor Doug Ducey delivered the state address this afternoon, where he called for the restoration of cuts to education put in place nearly a decade ago. Ducey said that he wants to restore so-called formula funding, which was cut soon after the Great Recession. The money is based on the number of students and a variety of other factors. Ducey has said that he will not raise taxes in the state, which nobody can promise to do. So it's unclear how much of his money he would actually be able to bring back in 1 year. Some of the money, however, will come from cash freed up by agency directors after spending review ordered by Ducey last year. Also in address, Ducey called on the legislature to fast-track a proposal to combat the opioid epidemic, which is a huge issue in this country right now. He says that he plans to call the legislature into special session this month in order to push through the proposal. While the proposal hasn't been released, it reported includes a limit on the first fill of narcotic drugs and adds tools for prosecutors that target doctors, drug manufacturers, and illicit dealers. Today marked the beginning of construction on a memorial dedicated to the 7th anniversary of the Tucson mass shooting that killed 6 people and injured Representative Gabby. This morning saw a dedication ceremony downtown that included a blessing from the Tohono Nation. The memorial will be built in El Presidio Park and will be dedicated to the victims and first responders at the event. Giffords was left partially paralyzed from the shooting, which was committed by Jared Lochner, who was sentenced in life in prison in 2012. I remember driving right by there when that shooting was going on. I was wondering why there were so many cops. The backing of cases in Arizona's immigration continues to increase, causing a need for more immigration judges in the state and across the nation. Last year in Arizona, courts faced more than 10,000 cases, a 7% increase over the previous year, according to a study by Syracuse University. The report also found that nationwide immigration cases grew by 5% in October and November 2017. With such a large backlog, undocumented immigrants are forced to sit in jail indefinitely. Immigration judges say that they're overworked and the U.S. needs to hire more judges. The Trump administration added 50 new judges this year, but judges says this is just too little and it will not make a dent in the backlog. Arizona Senator Jeff Flake says that there is no evidence that the American diplomats are victims of sonic attacks in Cuba. Last year, the White House claimed that 24 U.S. government officials and their spouses fell ill after being exposed to these attacks. Secretary of State Rex Tillerson said that he is convinced that there were targeted attacks, but the U.S. doesn't know who's behind them. Several diplomats were ushered out of the country following illnesses. Flake met with high-ranking Cuban officials on Friday to discuss the situation. This senator has long been an advocate for thawing of relationships between the U.S. and Cuba. At the meeting, the Cuban officials told Flake that the FBI said they found no evidence that the illnesses were caused by the attacks. Flake told the Associated Press that after classified briefings from U.S. officials, he found no reason to doubt Cuba's claims that there just wasn't any attack. Medical testing revealed that some embassy workers had abnormalities in their white matter, according to U.S. officials. However, white matter has not been shown to be affected by acoustic waves, which is the type that's been used in sonic attacks, and white matter could be any kind of viral or bacterial infection. Thousands of people gathered in front of the state capitol on Saturday to demand increases in education funding and to criticize the expansion of charter schools in the state. The rally and march was organized by the Arizona Parent-Teacher Association, or PTA. The Arizona Schools Now. Demonstrators waved signs supporting the group Save Our Schools Arizona, which was responsible for getting a voter referendum put on the ballot, which will decide whether Arizona moves forward on the expansion of the state schools voucher program. It has the potential to undo a law signed by Governor Doug Ducey last year that expanded the voucher program. Critics say that the voucher expansion uses taxpayer funds to support private for-profit schools. They say that encourages families to send their kids to private schools, and some of these private schools are really outstanding, which will end up destroying the state's K-12 education system that needs a lot of reform and a lot of work. Anyways, a Senate bill that would reverse the decision to end net neutrality now has 30 co-sponsors and will be sent to the floor vote. Senator Claire McCaskill announced her support for the bill, which would use Congress's authority under the Congressional Review Act to reverse FCC decision. Last month, the FCC said that it has ended net neutrality protection, which ensures that all websites are treated equally. Critics say that ending net neutrality means the internet service providers such as Comcast and Verizon could unfairly favor their own content and charge higher fees for competitors. Ed Markey, who introduced the Senate bill, said that Republicans have a choice to be on the right side of history or hold hands with special interests who want to control the internet for their own profit. The bill faces an uphill battle as Republicans control both House and Senate. However, some Republicans have come out in support of net neutrality and others have faced opposition from constituents who opposes the FCC's decision. This is the ongoing battle. Anyways, the U.S. will end temporary protected status, or TPS, for the country of El Salvador, according to a White House announcement on Monday. This means that around 200,000 Salvadorian immigrants who have been allowed to live and work in the U.S. since 2001 will lose their right to stay in the country. TPS status was granted to El Salvador after a devastating earthquake that left hundreds of thousands in the country homeless. The decision to end TPS comes as a part of the Trump administration push to tighten U.S. immigration laws and remove those living illegally here in the U.S. Immigration advocates says that the decision ignores violence in El Salvador and gives few options other than leaving the U.S. or living illegally in the country. Salvadorians are by far the largest group protected by TPS. Critics of the protected status said that participants repeatedly extend their stay in 6 months to 18-month periods. Besides El Salvador, Haiti and Nicaragua will lose their protected status in 2019, while Honduras, the second largest of TPS help, could lose their protection later this year. U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement, or ICE, will proceed with the deportation of an Ohio man who is the only caretaker for a 6-year-old paraplegic boy. 27-year-old Jan Carlos Mendez was found to be ineligible for any agency relief by ICE, according to the Cincinnati Enquirer. Mendez entered the country legally under the visa waiver program, but overstayed his visit by more than 2 years. Under the visa program, recipients waive their right to go before an immigration judge and be detained before deportation. According to the Enquirer, Mendez has dual citizenships in both Spain and the Dominican Republic. He is also the sole caregiver for a 6-year-old Ricky Solis, who was paralyzed in a car crash in February 2017. Mendez has lived with the boy's mother since 2014 and is the only father figure the child has ever known. Both Mendez and the boy's mother went through medical training before Ricky was released to the hospital. Mendez was sentenced to 30 days in the country jail, or in the county jail, after he was stopped in November for driving without a valid driver's license. This was his second offense. The SEC is investigating the real estate company of Jared Kushner for use of a federal program to grant visas to wealthy foreigners that invest in the U.S. This has been done for a long time. The Wall Street Journal reported that Kushner Company was asked this past May by SEC for information on the use of the EB-5 program. The program allows eligible immigrants to receive a green card if they invest at least $500,000 into businesses in the U.S. that will employ 10 or more American workers. Many of the recipients are wealthy Chinese investors. Last May, the journal wrote about Kirshner's use of the EB-5 program to finance developments. Jared's sister, Nicole Kirshner, spoke at an event in Shanghai to attract Chinese investments into a 2-tower luxury apartment complex in New Jersey. While trying to attract investors, Nicole mentioned that Jared's name, which could have implied that his White House connection could benefit the investors. The developers of the complex was seeking $150 million for the project through the EB-5 visa program, according to marketing materials from the event. Jared Kushner resigned from his role in the company after he was appointed as Trump's senior advisor last year. However, he still owns a stake in parts of the business, according to his most recent personal financial disclosure from. He has had to repeatedly resubmit the form after officials found that he repeatedly omitted investments from previous versions. And here we go. I want to take this moment to talk about the program that you're watching right now. Here on 5 on 20, we're undertaking a new kind of citizen journalism. We're going to give you the news as we see it, and we want more people to speak up with us. We need writers, hosts, anchors, camper people, sound people, the whole gamut of people to get involved and join us here in this fun time that we have. The time requires a new way of informing ourselves and to help develop our skills as what have you. Anyway, so join us. Do it now. Email us at creativetucson.org to get involved. And if you think there's a story we're missing, a person we should interview, or an upcoming event we should cover, have any news tips for us, shoot us an email to info@creativetucson.organization. We are here for you, and we want to cover all stories from all points of views. So please don't be strangers. This is 5 on 20 News with Reggie Stout. And please take a moment to share and subscribe to our YouTube account and follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter for all the latest creative Tucson news and content. You can also feel free to get in touch with us at info@creativetucson.org. Thanks for watching. Stay creative, Tucson.